pencil here. Glasses not too clean, but just do the best I can. Okay, 1 second. All right, so my mark here is that we started on, we're somewhere in the middle of the notes on number 5. I think that's, excuse me, it's a ches. And let's take a look a little bit more closely. And really we're reading up to number, well, we could read through number Yud Dalet, it's the site reference, and then go to number Tes Vav. It says, Rebbe Zohar Chai, it says, Shabir Kan Lefi Darko, and he explains here according to his way he normally does. And the Iri Kan Ba'orech Ba'or Akivarta Shal Panim de Erich Anpin Ein Sham, that's what we're talking about. Lefi Zeh Bir Ma'asha Amar Behemshech, where it says, Chuta Chivara Batlesar. So number 14 says there's some versions that say that leave out the word tlesar. Going on, now we've heard this idea, let's keep on, we're going. So it goes upwards, so what we mean that, it's up, of more than all the other 12. Kihu elyon mehem, it's up above them. Umashpil lohem, ach meidach begisa, but another way of looking at it, chivartecha yud gimel gam nochis kaba, but it has to go down, or it goes down as, maybe it means as it receives the shefa from other yud base chivarta that are already there. V'zel l'shonah are the old, let's say that the preliminary 12. This is what he says, and we're going to look at number test vav here. Shabes havaya, he uses it like it is singular, it sounds like. Anyway, the two havayas, the chivarti, nechlalim ke'echad, so he says 2 of them come into 1. So we have to understand what chivarti is and where it's coming from and what it's doing. He says, there's one that has all the rest along with it. The golden remains up above in the head of the skull, on the top of the skull, I guess. It has within it all of them, Okay, so now we're gonna look at, before we get too deep into this, let's go look at number Tes Vav. There we go. So he says, Rebbe Etzchai Vesel the Shalno Kavar Bi'arno Ech Beresha de Erich Anpin Yesh Bechinas Keser Shabo. So there's, okay, no, it's top. Ashecha B'Sham Mispashtim Yud Gimel Chivar Techa de Resha. That's where they come from. So these white areas, Elohim Kolonim Gimel Chavayas, actually what they have is the 3 Havayas which have 4 letters each, Keneged Gimel Mochim. So since there's 3 of them, they correspond, and he's going to give us a little direction here of the 3 Mochim, Chabad. That is, V'chavaya Gimel, Shuhu Chivartecha B'Dereisha Mebechinas Das, Nimshuchu Derek Ach, Reisha de Erich Anpin, it goes around the back of the head of Erich Anpin, etc. Amnam Beis Avayas Acheros, but the other 2, Sheba Bechinas Beis Mochin, which are the 2 Mochin, which are known, of course, which are Chochma Bina, Shecha Bechinas Bekeser, Sheyesh Bechem Ches Osios, now that's not a problem, but Bechem Ches Yudin. Now I suppose Sosi means Ches Yudin if you put them into a milui of Av, because it's Keser. At any rate, moving on. He says, Heim nim shachen keneged upon him, so they fall, they stream down the face, opposite the face. So Heim is pashte bebechinas upon him the atik, so they spread. They're an aspect of the panim the atika, which is Erich Anpin. Shesham Meirim Elo Cheskivarti, which so then that on the face and shining on the face. Hari Bein Hakol Yud Beis Chivarti. So between them, if you take the three Havayas, you have 12 white spaces there, or whitenesses. V'od yesh chad chivur. So then now explaining it out a little bit more, he says then there's one Hakol Kol Yud Beis Chivarti. Shehimo Nikra Kulam Yud Gimel Chivarti the Resha. So now that's how you get the number 13. So this seems like it's the, let's say, it's the origin of the concept of 13, perhaps. V'zecha b'chan Chivur Hayud Gimel Nishar L'mala B'Resha the Gugolta Ad Kan etc. Ein Sham. Let's go on from number Tes Vav, and we go back to that and look at number Tes Vav and read behind that. So now we understand this. My question is, if they're white, in other words, you can't see white without a black. White is just white. You can't really pick up any differentiation in it unless it has a background which is dark. Then it seeks out from in front of it. So I don't see how this works. Instead, he says that these white spaces, these whitenesses. So we're just working on the word whitenesses, represent letters which somehow form the face of Erich Anpin or shine on the face of Erich Anpin. It's a little unclear to me. Anyway, let's go on. So now we're talking over here. So these are all incorporated into each other. So there's one whitenesses that has all the other 12 in it, rather. So that's the word phrase he uses. That contains 13. So we hold like this, and this is our spot right here. Now we're going to go down to pick up number Tes Zion and see if we get something out of this. He says, Be'etz Chaim, okay, we lost Rebbe early on here. Let me get rid of that. This and this and this and this. Go back to the recents. Go over here. Column. Okay. Okay, back. We're looking at number Tes Zion. Ray Inyan de Chalon, he says, the Inyan coming up, he says, Be'etz Chaim in the Eitz Chaim. V'sel the Shona B'delog, he says, Hine ze ha-mazel Tikun Ches de Digna. Now, previously, he had this idea, it just been bothering me, where he said in number, I think it was number Yud Gimel, where he went off into something I didn't really understand, where he was talking about the connection between the Yesod of Keser and the Bina of Chochmah, that they're a natural kind of connection there. So I was thinking that, it's male and female. That's the female aspect, let's say, of the Chochmah. I guess that's what you would say, the first one. That is an idea that I never heard before. The question is why Bina? Why isn't it in the Malchus, or why isn't it somewhere else? But it's in Bina. So he says a female. But then over here, we're getting to the same kind of thing a little bit, because now he's talking to that number 8 again. Number 8 is Bina, would be Bina, if you're counting from the bottom to the top. So I'm not sure exactly how we got to this. But number 7, let's say at any rate, the Tikun Ches de Digna Kolo es Eloch Yud Beis, it has these 12 in it. Once again, we saw that idea. Beis Mitzia. So now he wants to just stick this idea on again. And he says it goes like this. The first one is Be'erek Hiyoser Be'elyon Mehem. One is because it's up above them. It's higher. Behem Nishpoim B'menu, and then they receive from the Shefa that is pouring, because it's, I don't know what we want to say, that this is its nature, is that it goes down, that it's pouring down. And in relationship to the fact that they're included in it, and it receives from that. So that was the first one. The second one, it's the same statement we've been making as we're going along here. So they're really one thing. The truth is that whether one is incorporated in the other is incorporated in the first one, it's the same thing, he says. Okay, so now let's go back, and now we're after at the third line from the bottom on the left column. He says, "V'kaimelon." So this is what we hold. Davar hakolo hu b'shnei mitzios. So it has two different things. I think you could say the same thing again. Let's see. He says, "Echa b'chiyosa el yon mechem b'chiyosa b'sod yud ilo sha'al al." Now he says, I started learning with this young man on Shabbos now, and I started looking at the origin of letters. So over there in the Otras Chaim, if you remember, he says that the nose, the chotem, is in the form of an aleph. So he shows you how that is, and here he comes and he says like this. He said, "B'chiyosef b'sod yud ilo sha'al," which is up above the aleph. And all the rest that is, in this case, the aleph would be the vav and the yud. So all of them receive from that upper one. Now the second one, since all of the rest of them are incorporated in it. Okay, so this is another way of saying the same thing, is that there has to be more in that 13th. The 13th, there was originally, you're making it sound like it's shining, but it also has an empty spot for these to come into it or to join into it in some way. Or al yadam, so they add more light to him. Moshe Rabbeinu, behevdel, ki hu elyon mikol yisrael mashpil lechem be'erich beis b'shvil yisrael ani medaber imach. So the one is that he's speaking for the Jews, and the other is because of the needs of the Jews. He's speaking to Hashem. Let's look at number Yud Zayin and see if we could get something there in the time that we have left. He says, "Rei b'divri Rashi b'dechila v'yikra," and he said, "V'zel l'shon l'lemar say ve'emer lechem davar divri kavushim v'shvil lechem hu nidaber imo," that because of you, who nidaber, he's speaking imi, with me. Shechein metzila shekol lamed ches shana shehoy yisra b'midbar kumunodim, like wanderers. Min meraglim ve'elok, that is for the time of the meraglim and onwards. V'lo nisyache, the Dibur b'Moshe, the Dibur never spoke with Moshe. 38 years. Shena emar v'yihi ka'asher b'kol kasher tamu kol anshech milchama l'mos, when all of those people that were old enough to go to war are dead. V'daber Hashem el Moshe, then it says that Hashem spoke to Moshe, Lamor, saying, Eloi choyach dibor, that the move came back to me, I guess. V'rei, or maybe it was there, but let's see. V'rei gam l'cholon at Siman Vav. I don't know where that is. B'shem Zohar Chaim be'inyan zeh ein sham. There's a little bit more there. Let's go back up to number Yud Zayin. So number Yud Zayin, ki b'chiyos bo klalos. So it has within it all the rest incorporated. Called Yisrael Noistim Lo Ha'arach Atzuma. So it was that all the Jews, as we're reaching upwards, it's an interesting idea, going back to thinking about Tzaddikim and reading the works on Shabbos. He says Noistim Lo Ha'arach Atzuma, you place within him a tremendously powerful light, and it receives from them. So as we said before, these are the two aspects that are really one. Fiha emes. But this one is actually up above them physically in some way. And as a result of that, all of them moving upwards or moving towards it, he receives all that shefa. That's like Moshe Rabbeinu. V'hu chad chutach yivara b'tleiser. So this is the one chut, which is 13. V'hu mashpich l'kulam or ad kan b'ayin sham. Let's look at the next one, which is, I think, number Yud Ches. So he says, number Yud Ches says, Bir Noisif. So here's another explanation. Rape Virish Sulam. Now let's see if I can understand this. Kanvazel the Shona Shazakan Baklalo, looking at the beard in general. Nira Kamel Bechut, it looks the whole beard. He said looks like a thread, love and a white thread. Im Sa'aras Lavonos, with white hairs. Okay, I don't see how that goes together, because he says the whole thing looks like a chut, but the chut has white hairs in it. Well, chut is a singular. So, but he says, okay, the two of them are together. Shemasavavos upon him, they go around the face. Salik, what's salik mean? Shemechem olos, shemeiros mimata lamal. So he said that they go up, into that, everything goes up. This is what he said by holding up. Going up means is that the lower part, the 12, are going to be joining with the upper, and therefore that's going up. The nachis, the concept of going down, that makes some sense to me. The nachis is a different interpretation, going down. Yordos shemeiros memalalamanta. But then also it goes down. Because why? Because it's up above. It's being mashpia. This sounds better to me than the other ones. Ad kan. I think we're out of time. That's a shir in the Sifra Ditzniuta for today. Today I think it's the 21st day of Kislev as we're coming to the holiday of Hanukkah.